Hey guys, welcome back to Tea with Phil and Jen. In today's video, we're gonna taste two yellow teas side by side while we talk about this lesser known tea type.
Yeah, and I can't wait to get to it, so I'm gonna make this super quick. If you're new to the channel, click that subscribe button, and don't forget to click the notification bell as well so you'll know whenever we release new videos. Now let's dive into these awesome teas. Can't wait.
So let's have a look at the dry leaf first.
Starting with Dayat Singh. You can see, well, let's compare them. You can see the Dayat Singh is a little bit greener right away. This has a little green tinge.
Yeah, even though both colors are pretty dark,
Very
I found
dark,
the Huangdacha slightly to the yellow,
red-brown kind of
brownish
zone.
side, while this one has almost
green-black more, but
yeah,
still both are dark. There's
really dark color.
a good roast on both.
And Dayat Singh has a bigger leaves.
Definitely bigger leaves, and doesn't have the. I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but even on the dry leaf, the Huangdacha has a little more of a roasty nose right off the bat.
Right. Let's get to warm up the Gaiwan and
Get the real smell.
real smell. So the tea I used today, I measured 3 grams since we're doing a side by side. Do a little bit more.
A little bit more methodical. If you know us, you know that we often don't measure out the tea. We're all about intuitive brewing and just by feel. But when we're side by side, we like to give everybody kind of a fair shake.
Oh.
No chips?
No.
Good.
We'll check later. Okay. Want to have a smell of the dry leaf?
Absolutely. I'm going to start with the Dayat Singh because I felt like it might be a little bit... Oh, that has a hint of floral and some nice, some really nice, almost sweet, maybe butter cookie. Meadowy, floral. I'll let you have a roll at that. I'm going to switch to the Huangdacha now.
Sweet.
Very sweet, that one, huh?
A hint of a floral, like you said.
If there's something in common, I would say the Dayat Singh has a fresh straw hint, and this has dry straw hints. But from there on in, it's all different. This has a bit of a chocolatey, almost dark chocolate aroma, and it's a little bit more bold than the Dayat Singh. Looking forward to getting these.
Almost a little bit of coffee notes.
Yes, that's that's definitely a good one.
Which teacup do you want to use?
You can choose which is which. I'll just keep track.
Okay.
One thing I really love about Huangdacha is that bolder coffee note you mentioned. It really tends to make this tea easy for people to drink, especially when they're getting started with tea. Oh, even more butter cookie coming now, like pastries, sweetness.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and a nice light gold liquor compared to the more amber of the.
Right, it's quite different as the liquor color.
The Huangdacha definitely has that sort of coffee-esque aroma that you got on the dry leaf. And something almost a little bit tannic, like almost like a tannin in the coffee. I'm gonna start with the Dayat Singh for a sip.
I already sipped because the smell really sweet and
Inviting,
seductive?
right? Yes,
Okay,
seductive.
okay.
No,
Inviting
seductive's
sounds
perfect.
better,
It's
seductive.
like you smell that. It's hard not to sip
I
it.
just subconscious, I smell it, I drink it.
Yep. The sweetness is there in the liquor as well, but in a very interesting way. It's not an overt sweetness. It's mixed in with the liquor. And the floral
almost
melody.
imaginary, like floral, like nectar sweet.
Right, good
Like
one.
because
Nectar,
it
yeah,
has
hint.
that floral there, and
It has that floral, refreshing, watery, but then it has that little teaser of sweet.
absolutely. I like the toastiness of the 黄大茶.
Oh yeah, it reaches right up out of the where the Dai Tsing liquor was a little bit more subtle and maybe seductive, like you pointed out. The Huang Da Cha liquor is really it's right there.
And very crisp.
Yeah.
I found that in terms of mouthfeel, this one is the 大叶青 is more mellowy,
Mellow, smooth,
soft.
silky.
Yeah, yeah. 黄大茶 is crisp,
Crisp,
very
brisk.
brisk.
Yep.
Yes, those
Both are very refreshing, but it's interesting to have them side by side.
widely different way of
Right,
refreshing.
you didn't think refreshing could have so many different angles. There's some malty grains in here too. Malty grains with those chocolatey coffee notes. Definitely glad I started with the Dai Tsing in terms of tasting them.
Absolutely. 大眼睛 is almost give you that similarity with green tea-ish because it's
More delicate?
this is more not saying traditional yellow tea process, but this is what you would expect in a lot of yellow tea. But
Right.
some yellow tea would have like Huang Da Cha, which is has that toastiness in the end. So as yellow tea goes, it means compared to green tea, it means it's slightly oxidized. Like
Right.
in the process, there is a step to help increase a little bit of oxidization in the tea leaves so that when we taste it, compared to green tea, the taste would be a little bit mellower.
Soften the edges kind of
That's
thing.
right, that's right.
Yeah.
And it's actually a quite old, ancient, traditional. Like it has quite a history. It's not just a recent invention or stuff. It actually first recorded in books in Ming Dynasty, which dates back 400
that's
years.
longer than I thought even. Wow.
It actually writes about how it was plucked, how it was harvested and brewed. So
Wow.
yeah, it has quite a history. That's why if you look for yellow tea in China, there are many regions that produce that, like Sichuan province or Hunan, Hubei province, Zhejiang, Anhui. You will find yellow tea in a lot of
Right.
provinces.
Now I've heard some stories about how this may have been sort of discovered or found, but is that actually part of the Chinese history of yellow tea, or are those just stories?
Well, this
Because I heard it was
the
a bit of a
hearsay,
blooper.
yeah, it's like when
Right?
they're doing the
Right.
pan-fried green tea and oops, by accident they made a mistake or discovered that, when we were a little bit like didn't finish the green tea in time, it has a little oxidization, and it didn't taste so bad. It actually,
It didn't wreck the batch.
yes, it actually become a new type. So absolutely discovered by accident during the, especially I think it was a pan-fired, Chao
Okay.
Ting, pan-fired green tea process.
I noticed in the bottom cup, as we finished the last infusion, I got two very distinct sort of noses. The Dai Tsing has sort of a stinky flower bottom cup,
You smell this?
and the
Smell
Huang Da
this
Cha
now.
had more of a brown sugary bottom cup. Whoa.
It's really pleasant floral. for
Pleasant
me.
floral. I almost want to name the flower, but I can't quite get it. It's not definitely not rose, but in the orchid domain almost.
Yes.
Like a creamy floral.
Yeah, I didn't have that creamy. I didn't find this creamy. For me, it was more refreshing, like
more
sweet floral. It wasn't because creamy floral. I would expect something heavier.
A little more sultry.
But this
it's
is
still
more light and sweet floral. Actually, very pleasant smell. I really love that.
And yeah, it really jumps out at you. It's not it's not like hard to dig out. Let me try this one.
Almost like a corn.
Yeah.
Like a sweet corn.
Yeah, I get malted grain.
Multigrain.
Like-
Okay.
Those kind of tones, heavier, definitely heavier.
It's almost reminds me of like a Huangshan Maofeng, that kind of light green tea. But there's something more to it that gives that a little bit more body. I mean the 大叶青.
I'm really stricken by the boldness of this. Like this is really, I feel like this one would be a great one for pairing with food. This one can stand up to a pretty good presentation, maybe even breakfast. Like it also has that sort of almost.
We often do this with the dessert, though not breakfast. Like a meal, we do that with butter cookie.
Would
That
be
was
great with
really-
dessert too. Yeah,
Yeah.
butter cookies or the shortbreads that I make.
Okay, let's do the third infusion, I think.
Nice. Yes, sir. Ma'am. Sorry. Sir, because I'm excited. Third infusion. Oh, you could smell the Huang Da Cha when you just put the lid on it, wafted over here. That roasty coffee smell. I love that. That amber liquor is so bright. Light amber, I would say.
Red amber, yeah.
Yellow gold. Bronze, copper. What do you think?
Gold. Well, the other one is more of
See, I would call the other one gold.
gold, yeah.
Right? And then I would lean towards amber for this one. But,
24K gold.
right?
Yeah. So both liquor you can see is actually to the yellow side, even though this one looks lighter, and compared to this one you feel like the Daiyeqing's liquor is more to the greener side.
Definitely.
Right? But both has that yellow tone. So that's one of the characteristics of yellow tea, which is a yellow liquor. In Chinese, we call that huang tang huang ye, means yellow soup, aka the tea liquor, and yellow leaf.
Right.
Yeah, but you notice the dry leaf wasn't quite yellow and stuff. So that leaf a lot of time refers to the brewed leaf.
Right. Oh, it still has that multi-grain plus that chocolatey coffee. Really.
You know, it's so sweet smell. It's
The
not-
Daiyeqing has got
yeah,
that sweet, yeah.
That is like almost like a honey kind of sweet.
Like
smell.
honey water. Not as thick as like pure honey smell. But we sometimes have honey water in the morning, and it has that kind of light. And you also get some floral off that, similar to this.
I love how mellow, how smooth, like soft, how soft the liquor is.
Right.
It almost glides down the throat, really just.
And not that green tea is harsh, but it's almost shocking how, although the process are quite similar, how the tasting profile is so different and so altered by that. So speaking of the process,
And many people actually were really curious about what's yellow tea, like what's so
sure,
special.
what's the difference or what is
Yeah,
yellow tea?
yeah.
We get that all the time.
And that's that special step in yellow tea that called yellowing.
Yeah, it's actually, there's just, compared to green tea, there's only one extra step, and that is the yellowing step. Unfortunately, if I just tell you, oh, the difference is yellowing, it really doesn't tell you much. So what is yellowing? So unlike green tea, where their focus is really on making sure the tea is not oxidized at all, they want to get that keel green done as quickly and as fully as possible. Yellow tea actually has, in the yellowing step, they actually purposefully let those leaves oxidize a little bit. And that's the tricky part, is letting them oxidize not too much, but also not too little. So you get that.
Controlled, so it
Yeah.
doesn't wreck the batch, but still give that a great aroma, great like a softened mouthfeel.
Yeah.
That's the technical part.
Yeah, very, very technical.
Absolutely.
These guys nailed it, I have to say. Cheers to the producers. The floral in the Da Yue Tsing is now taking on a bit of a polleny aspect. I'm getting kind of a really still clean and bright, but even more thick almost, I guess.
You're right.
Very different profile compared to the Huangda Cha.
The smell changed. Huangda Cha's leaf smell changed. Oh yeah, I really like this.
That light floral is really delightful. I'm just letting it build up a bit. That now has a bit of floral too.
Yeah, yeah.
Compare. This is a light sweet floral still though. This is more of those little, I don't want to say stinky flowers, but more like those meadow flowers, like a pure floral, not sweet floral, if that makes any sense. Like it's really,
This is the kind of lovely scent that I would want my house to smell like, because it's scented, so gentle and elegant. That's not overwhelming. It's not gonna make me dizzy because it's so
won't make your eyes water.
and so lovely, just uplifting. Yeah. Even though these two teas taste and smells and everything so differently, they actually both can call the Huangda Cha.
Oh wow.
Yes, I mentioned that a little before. I was like, although they have different names, but they can also be known as the same tea, because how we categorize yellow tea is almost similar to white tea. Like in white tea, we know Shoumei tells you the grade.
Right.
Baimudan, Baihaoyinzhen also tells you the plucking standard, the grades of the tea.
Right.
Similar with yellow tea, you have almost like a Baihaoyinzhen bud only tea. Those are called Huangya Cha, yellow bud tea. And you also have a Huang Xiao Cha, which means it's one bud with one or two leaves.
Okay.
But you also have Huang Da Cha, like these two.
Okay.
You would have one bud with 3 leaves, 2, 3 leaves, depending
Right.
on the tea itself.
Okay.
And like Huang Da Cha, these are those kind of representative teas.
Right.
This one is from Anhui, so you can know it's sometimes known as Huoshan Huang Da Cha, and this one has a very unique process, special to the region. Is the last step.
It's got to be the roasting, am I right?
Yes,
Yeah.
give that a big fire and roasting.
Right, yeah. And
Yeah.
you get that on the nose right away.
Yeah.
But I had no idea that Da Yue Tsing, so now that's also in the Huangda Cha category because it's one bud
Yes.
with 2 or 3 leaf.
Yes, And this is from Guangdong province. Sometimes you will know as Guangdong Dayeqing. So most people, if you have heard of yellow tea, a lot of them probably know, say, Junshan Yingzhen, Huoshan Huangya, or Mengding Huangya. Those are considered
Definitely remember that one.
right. Those are considered yellow bud teas, Huangya cha.
Okay,
Yeah,
right.
and
right.
those are very expensive. Once I saw some
Right.
place here was selling the Junshan Yingzhen. It's over $300 for an ounce.
Right.
And that's probably the right price for that tea because
Right,
how
right.
scarce it is, not many people are making that.
And those are the ones with those characteristic, those subtle and wonderful.
Really tasting green, tasting great tea. At some point, I don't even recommend people who just getting into yellow
Right.
tea to taste it because it was.
It's something you
almost
want to
a-
work your way up to, right?
Yes,
You want to get
yes.
your taste buds warmed up and start to learn how to taste. And
And
then,
it could appear really similar to green tea taste, which sometimes can be discouraging. You know, it's like
Right.
you really spend the good money on that, and you feel like
Right.
it really tastes like just another bud green tea. So
Right.
that could be a little bit frustrating.
yeah. But from my experience with Mengding Huangya, definitely worth working your way up to. Very,
Absolutely.
very delightful.
And those teas are, because of that yellowing process, the mouthfeel would be even deeper and smoother
Oh, yeah.
than green tea. And also in the Huang Xiaocha area, you would have some tea called, many teas like Lu Yuan Mao Jian.
So that, just to remind me,
Sorry.
that's the one bud, one leaf, right? So
1 to 2 leaf, depends on the
right.
tea itself.
got it. Okay. But it's the middle one.
Yes, the middle one.
Got it.
Yeah, like Lu Yuan Mao Jian, you will have a Weishan Bai Mao Jian, Haima Gong Cha, or Beigang Mao Jian,
Right.
Pingyang Huang Tang. So these teas,
Plenty of selection.
yes, but not very popular, not all mentioned in the West. Even in China, a lot of teas are disappearing because making yellow tea is such a
Right.
risk and extra work.
Right, right. And a lot of the areas of tea making is probably suffering the same way that the skills are also being lost. Like people are doing other things or doing the easier, how do I say that? The ones that are easier to get to market with less risk.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. It is the market who eventually, shift people's attention to those easier to make, easier to sell
Right,
at
right.
some point.
Booming aromas, lighter
Yes.
oxidized, lighter roast.
Because at some point, it's understandable for farmers' perspective if they spend a lot of time and risking. Because if you don't do the yellowing properly, the whole batch would be wrong. Like,
Right, would be ruined.
how should I say that? Like imagining drying clothes. We have a dryer machine. It's very simple. But if you have that phase of leaving the clothes
Right.
wet for a little bit longer, we probably are pretty familiar with that stinkiness that
Right.
comes from it. That's just you leave the clothes didn't dry for long.
Right.
You could generate that. But if it's a tea, if you didn't dry or let it yellow in properly,
Yeah.
and those unpleasant smell or taste, nobody will buy that tea.
Right. So basically, what they're shooting for is imagine if there was a perfect spot in the wet clothes where it smells even better. But if you're 5 minutes too late, it's too late. They stink. You got to rewash them.
Yes.
But you cannot rewash tea.
Simplified version is like
No, I
that
love the
because
metaphor.
people, right? People,
I love that. Yeah.
yeah, the danger of the water and
Yeah.
time. So it's kind of understandable. So a lot of times they just make green tea.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm careful to always start with the. My last tasting round, I started with the Huangda Cha, and
Right.
it's a little bit overwhelming for the diet.
About to sip the Huangda Cha, so I put it right back.
They're both quite seductive, though. Once you smell them, it's tricky. I really like how the mouthfeel of this is opening up. As we get into the later infusions, there's still that lilting, floral, sweet on the aroma. And the mouthfeel is getting nice and thick, luscious.
Mellow. The floral has changed a bit for me. It's less sweet, more subdued. Now there's more like a meadow, like a grass mingled with the light, those white little flowers. You cannot even name what kind of floral it is. It's just faintly there.
I got kind of some fresh straw too, a little bit more. Like when it's still just baled up, but still green kind of thing.
This start to have a prune, like the snack we have been having, like a prune.
Date or prune?
Plum. I changed my mind.
Okay.
Plum.
Let me check. Let me see.
Maybe the leaf might be more.
You're right. Hints of plum and plum flower, maybe.
This one is the same cultivar as In Home Number 9, which has that poor elements there.
Right.
So you
makes sense.
Right?
Suddenly.
It didn't appear at all in the early infusions.
No.
It's just this one, right?
That's right. Not impossible to detect that sort of. I didn't have any plum or those stone fruit characteristics in the early phase.
Fruit, yeah. Well, that's what we see. That's what we say. Like tea, the more you brew to the end, it presents you their original form.
Right. Sort of like how a really old shenpu'er will come back to its gold, right?
Different phases of the tea brewing really presents different information.
Wow, really different experiences. Two great experiences with yellow tea, though.
Same with this infusion. I found the toastiness that, how should I say, like the process that given this tea was more manifested in the early infusion, while this one, not saying the full process, the roasting process, this one is more, have revealed more of that yellowing elements, which is less edge, like the taste was more rounder, mellower mouthfeel, I would say, rather than taste. Yeah. Well, I know almost every video we talk about those different tea types or different teas. Many people would ask, how do I choose a good tea? How do I choose a right yellow tea? Because for tea leaves to appear yellow, it can be yellow tea, it can be stale green tea. Right? You know, you put a green tea a couple of years, it also turns yellow. How do people know? What are the tips? Well, in terms of yellow tea, it is a very tricky part because how similar it is to green tea. So at a certain point, if you're looking for buds only, like Huang Ya Cha buds, like Junshan Yinzhen, Hoshan Huang Ya, or Mengding Huang Ya, price is definitely a great reference point. We currently don't carry any of these teas, but we have, every now and then we carry a very limited quantity of those buds only yellow teas, and the price are not cheap. And when you look around, that's one of the major things I would mention is...
they're just so scarce. They're just really hard to come by.
It's really almost impossible to come up to see a cheap but authentic yellow bud teas. So price is one of the thing you can simply figure out is that possible to be real. But of course, high price doesn't guarantee that it's a real thing.
That's right. And then if you're going to fork over all that cash, you're probably going to want to make sure you have a trusted vendor, because that's probably the best thing you can have to make sure you're getting an authentic yellow tea.
Yeah.
All right, so that was two very different yellow teas, even though we just found out they're both technically in the Huangda Cha yellow tea category.
Yeah.
We have the Huangda Cha, which was characterized by its sort of chocolatey coffee aroma, and then those malty, bold flavors, and in the end, relinquishing to more of the yellow, softer flavors. Really,
Right.
really lovely tea.
Right. Well, the 大叶青 is more soft, smooth mouthfeel with a really pleasant sweetness that
yes.
lingering on the nose and the taste, as well as a floral, a very refreshing, lovely floral notes that is not overwhelming. So later on, with a little bit of grain touch, like a little bit of soft hay aroma and meadowland. So meadowland, meadow,
Meadow, yeah, kind of
Okay.
meadowy, yeah.
not meadowland, right? That's a road beside our neighborhood. Anyway, I hope the tastings and our tasting notes is helpful for you guys to choose these two teas. And I hope you can, make the selection and choose the one that probably
Suits you
the best, or even go ahead and have them side by side, like what we're doing right now.
Yeah, that would be my pick. I could never choose. So if you like the video, please give it a thumbs up. It really helps the channel grow. And if you want to help the channel grow even more and help your tea habit grow as well, you can grab these teas. They're in the links down below. And from there, you'll be able to find all kinds of other teas on our website.
Absolutely. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell.
And until next time.
Keep steeping.